You're listening to Popcorn Unscripted,
the podcast where we dive into movies and TV shows with no scripts, no filters, just real talk and plenty of popcorn.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Dylan.
We're here to talk about everything we love
And love to hate.
in pop culture. So grab your popcorn,
Sit back.
and let's get this show started. Alright, Dylan. It's episode 6 this time.
We can count.
We can count. Alright, so today we are taking on another 1980s classic, specifically 85.
Yeah, we're covering Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf!
Starring Michael J. Fox again.
Yay! We're eventually just gonna go through his whole filmography at some point.
I ain't got a problem with that.
I know you don't.
I like Michael J. Fox.
I know you do.
I also found out earlier today that while rewatching it to make sure that I did remember stuff, since I did forget the main character's name, I kept wanting to call him. I kept thinking that his name throughout the film was Michael, actually, but no, it was Scotty. But
Scott.
It was Scott, but they call him Scotty at half time, so it's like, okay.
Scotty doesn't know. Scotty
Yeah, for real.
doesn't know.
But I found out there's actually a second movie to it called Teen Wolf 2.
Interesting.
But it's spelled T-O-O.
Huh. Interesting.
But here's the funny thing. It's awful.
Well, I would assume so.
Well, the reason why I say that is because it does not have any of the original actors.
But then what's the point of making a second film if you're not going to use the original actors?
Yeah, it had no one from the original movie whatsoever. It didn't even have Michael J. Fox as the main character. It had someone else.
Then why would you call it Teen Wolf 2 if it's completely different characters?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can actually pull it up. Let's see. Teen Wolf 2. It's so funny because I did not know this until actually searching it up to make sure that see what it was on to rewatch it.
Uh-huh.
Because I forgot it was on Max.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, HBO Max.
What's called Max?
I'm going to call it HBO Max. But it was on there, but the second movie is not. But on Amazon, you can get a double feature for both movies for $12.99.
Interesting.
Yeah. The main character of Teen Wolf 2 is Jason Bateman.
That's an odd name.
And Uncle Harold is named James Hampton.
Weird.
So yeah, it doesn't even have any of the original people in it. It might be... Chubbs might be the original actor, one of the original actors, but I'm not 100% sure.
I wouldn't know.
But either way, they did not have some of the main characters from the original movie, so it makes me wonder why did they make a second one if they're not going to use the original people? But then again, it could have been contracting issues.
Could have been, yeah. Which also Michael was probably doing like Back to the Future stuff at the time too.
Yeah, well, since this came out in 87.
Yeah, so he was doing like Back to the Future 2 and 3 at the same time.
Yeah, this movie, the Teen Wolf 2 came out in 87, but the original came out in, I think it
85.
Yeah, 85. So it was at the exact same time as Back to the Future, but probably just later on in the year.
Yeah.
So that explains a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Why Michael wasn't in there, but it doesn't explain why everyone else wasn't. But we also learned that, for example, Back to the Future Part 2 with George's character, we found out that they couldn't get him because of a disagreement with what he wanted.
With contract.
And
it was a contract disagreement, yeah.
Yeah. So it's very interesting.
Well, it's the same thing for the girlfriend, too.
Yeah. Well, heck, you couldn't even tell the difference.
No, I didn't even notice.
I didn't even know it was a different actor. I thought it was the same girl. No.
Yeah. No, it was a completely different girl.
Yeah, so it's just funny how I literally accidentally stumbled across this when looking for the original movie to rewatch it before this to make sure I had the names and everything right.
Mm-hmm.
And then there, lo and behold, here's the second movie. And it's like not rated whatsoever very well.
Dang.
Heck, even mom knew about it, but she said it was very awful.
Huh. Interesting.
She couldn't even remember anything from it. She remembers something about some girl in there, and then that's about it.
Yeah, that sounds like mom though.
But if you ask her about the first movie, she could tell you about it.
Yeah.
The second movie, nope.
Nope.
Hey,
Well,
I'm curious what the Rotten Tomato scores on it now. So here's the second movie. It's ironic enough rated PG, but let's see where there it is. Rotten Tomatoes. Oh,
what's the score?
8% tomato meter and 17% popcorn meter.
Oh,
Yeah,
womp womp.
It did not go well for anyone.
Womp womp.
So yeah, I don't think a lot of people like the second movie.
I wonder.
Because if I look at here's the first one, it's a 46. It's still not good, but at the same time, it still has a far better score.
Yeah.
46% tomato meter and 52% popcorn meter. So while yes, the movie did not do that well, it still did very well in the eyes of a critic to
audience
score.
Yeah.
And I think it's still pretty good, but the second one, Jesus.
Jeez. It took a toll.
Yeah, no kidding. But then again, I think the funny thing about the first movie is the fact that you got actors trying to act like they can't act in certain scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's so fun to watch because it's like, I wonder how many takes it took for this because they kept accidentally nailing the acting, but then they realized, oh, wait, I gotta do horribly.
Yeah. Anyway, we're moving on to the questions. And so the first one I have for you. How does Teen Wolf balance comedy and teen drama with its supernatural elements?
I think it more so leaned on the comedy aspect of the film.
I agree. Yeah.
But then again, I think it's because one main character, and Bailey hates him.
I hate him so much that I don't even remember his name.
Styles!
Yeah.
Yeah, we've mentioned his name 4 times before this.
But then again, I'm very bad with names.
Yeah,
it's like,
I can't say anything.
I can see his face, but don't ask me his name.
Yeah, I'm good with faces, not names.
Yeah.
If I know the person well enough, yes, I'll remember the name, but I'll still end up accidentally mixing up with someone else's name.
Yeah.
But I think it did a good job focusing on mainly comedy because that's basically what this was a comedy.
No, this was mostly like a teen, like I guess you could call it a rom-com.
I guess.
But there wasn't really much romance in it at all to begin with. So it's like a teen rom-com.
Well, if you want to count Beth.
Yeah, I did not like how they did their relationship either, but we'll talk about it.
It was kind of weird.
I did not like that at all.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Which then again, I just thought this movie was okay. I didn't really like it. I thought it was a bit ridiculous at times.
Yeah, I can see why. Especially with more so embracing the werewolf Harvin way too fast.
Yeah.
I think
that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. He did embrace it way too fast, and all over. Basically, him just winning one basketball game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now he's perfectly fine with being the werewolf, and it's like you're just complaining about being being all over your face.
Yeah.
I still think that's the funniest line.
I honestly think he turned into the werewolf too quickly.
Yeah, then again, it did take a bit for the actual werewolf to actually show up.
It did, but I feel like he started feeling symptoms too early in the movie.
Yeah, he did. He started way too early.
Yeah.
I mean, he started within probably 5 minutes of the film. He was already doing the growl and everything. So it's like, which I do find funny. One part that made me bust out laughing the most was this so dramatic scene of him like trying to make a half-court shot and everything to make a goal. And then in the background, you can see the scoreboard, and yet it's still 12-71, so it's not like it's gonna make any different.
Yeah.
So it's like all this dramatic, and then you see the score. It's like, oh, well, it doesn't even freaking matter.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Why don't you just call the game at that point?
He tried to.
Yeah.
The coach did try to. He said, "You want to forfeit? Yeah. What's wrong with that?"
Yeah. But he's just like, but the coach was just like, no, and he was like, well, all right then.
So yeah, saying it's not fair to them. It's like, all right, if it's that important to you.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you think of Michael J. Fox's performance? Does he make the character relatable or goofy?
I think he does a good job making both. Because he makes the character goofy at the same time of trying to make it relatable. I mean, to be fair, he does nail the kind of anxious kid really
teen.
well. He does nail that really well.
He does. I don't know. I just feel like his character was more goofy than he was anything else.
That's understandable. Because honestly, he was very goofy, especially when the werewolf came out. Then he became really goofy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's just I love this movie, and I've watched this so many times, so many. I think I've watched this actually on par with Back to the Future as many times.
Well, I would go as far as to say Michael J. Fox is probably your favorite actor of all time.
That and Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
I love both those people. They're amazing. I love, but then again, when Michael J. Fox came out with his actual TV show, that I watched that too.
Yeah.
But then again, I also watched it with my Papa Jim.
Yeah.
Because we both liked Back to the Future, and when we saw he had a TV show starring actually him,
yeah,
we immediately jumped on that, and we enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just in the fact that we actually got to see his wife and kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
His wife and kids are actually in the show.
How interesting. Because you don't really get to see much about his family life, especially nowadays.
Yeah, no kidding. Then again, I think it's because of that show, honestly. You've seen the fact that those weren't actors. That was actually his wife and kids.
Yeah.
So it's understandable, seeing the fact that you're basically just...
putting your life out there.
Pretty much. But the thing is, it's not like the Kardashians or anything like that. It's actually, it's acting at the same time of just being funny.
Yeah. So, how does the film address themes of identity, fitting in, and embracing differences? Yeah. I don't really think it identified it very well. Although, I can kind of see it because of his struggle with the wolf. Because it's like, he wanted to be the wolf, but at the same time, he couldn't be the wolf all the time.
Especially because everyone liked the wolf better than him.
Yeah.
So it's more so of a...
He was
kind
like
of a
losing...
punch to the gut.
Yeah, it was like he was losing his identity at that point because he was becoming all about the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like in like an identity crisis.
Yeah, not to mention the scene with the dance also didn't really help at all either.
No, I did not like that at all.
Then again, the dude provoked him first.
He did. He was asking for it.
But at the same time, Scott kind of let him get to him that much.
He did. That's very true.
When I did like the fact that he did change back just to dance with Beth, though.
Boof.
Beth. Oh, god dang.
He danced with Boof.
Booth.
Boof.
Is it Boof?
Yes, it's Boof. B-O-O-F.
I thought her name was Booth.
No, it's Boof. Boof, you ding dong.
See my point about the names?
It's Boof. Jeez, Dylan. You've watched this movie how many times?
Well, to be fair, they keep doing nicknames and stuff for the characters.
It's always been the whole movie that he said Boof.
One time, she's the only one that they don't do that to, but they do it to every single person almost.
But then again, I don't remember anybody else.
For,
Boof is the only memorable name.
Because, like, for example, Pamela, Pam,
yeah,
the girl he's kept talking about, ironic enough said 2 words to him. Not you.
Not you.
Well, I mean, it really didn't do too well with that, honestly.
It didn't. Not really.
But then again, I don't think they fully knew what to do with the story.
No, especially with it being in the 80s. And people of that age were struggling with identity crises a lot back then because, you know, of like the LGBT stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that were coming out and struggling with that kind of stuff. So making movies that kind of had teenagers and stuff struggle with that, it was something new.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of hard to kind of express that, to kind of be yourself. Don't let anybody tell you who you could be. Accept the differences in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. So it was actually very difficult to do all of that back then.
Yeah, well, not to mention it was also because of the fact that they're using kind of a supernatural twist on it too.
Yeah. It's like they took like a teen drama and just threw a werewolf in there.
Which, I mean, if done right, yes, it can be very interesting.
Yeah.
It's just that you can tell they were trying to come up with something to do with the story-wise because it felt like a little all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like at times they did have a plan, but at the same time, they didn't.
Yeah.
Especially with how fast each scene happened. Because, I mean, that was fast.
Yeah, it was a very quick movie.
Because, I mean, I think it's, only an hour, it's like 30 minutes?
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Because
or
even
more?
the second movie that no one talks about, that one was only an hour 46 minutes.
Wow.
So they're both short movies. It's just like so weird how fast the first one went.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you blink
It
and
was
the
very
movie's over.
Yeah, it was very fast paced. I will say that.
So I think honestly, it would have been better if it was longer.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe if it was more
extend it.
fleshed out. Yeah.
Extend it by at least 1 hour, and I think you will have had enough time frame to actually make those scenes seem longer.
Yeah.
While
and to-
also adding more stuff.
Yeah, like exploring the relationships that he has and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like exploring what happened to his mom.
Oh yeah,
Because we don't really know what
Yeah.
happened to his mom.
all we hear is that one that guy mentioned about
Her
getting
her-
shot,
Yeah.
and that he's the one that did it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we don't know anything else about
Yeah.
the mother.
We don't know anything. We don't know what actually happened.
Which is kind of ironic, because then it means that both his parents are werewolves, and they were hoping it would skip a generation, but that just makes it higher likelihood that it would hit him.
Well, yeah, they said every time it usually skips a generation, like every once in a while.
Yeah, but at the same time, if two werewolves are having a baby, it's more likely that the baby's gonna get that.
Well, that just goes with your genetics and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there's of course, there is a very higher chance that he was going to be a werewolf than not.
Yeah,
Like,
now if it
probably
was-
like 80-20.
Yeah, he had a higher likelihood of getting it.
Yeah.
Than
Yeah.
they thought. Yes, it may have been better if the mother wasn't a werewolf and the dad was.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would probably be a better circumstance of him skipping it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
seeing the fact that they were both werewolves, there's no way in heck
Yeah.
he's getting skipped over.
Yeah, no. So, what was your favorite scene or moment? Was it the basketball game or the werewolf party?
I don't know. I like the basketball scenes a lot, actually, because I actually enjoy those parts. Even though they basically play the whole scene over and over and just to flip the frame pretty much.
Yeah,
Which, granted, it makes it easier for editing and stuff.
it does, especially back then.
Well, especially since it's a basketball game, what really are you going to do
Mm-hmm.
with a movie format wise?
Yeah.
Now, that's different if it was like actual basketball and stuff. That's
Yeah.
different. But if you're doing a movie format, you're not going to basically do the whole thing and try to like change it up, especially if you don't know what you're doing with basketball.
Right.
Granted, it did seem like they do because the coach knew like positions and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like they did memorize some stuff about basketball beforehand, but just didn't know what to do with the short time frame that they had.
Right. It's like they like knew and trained for what to do. It's like they knew, but it's like their bodies wouldn't like react along with the other team because they're used to playing against each other.
Yeah.
And playing it the right way. But when they're when they're playing with an actual opposing team that's actually trying to get the ball, it made it more difficult for them to actually play the game.
Yeah. So doing that, but not to mention, you're also got to take into account that there's a camera on the court filming it.
Yeah.
So not to mention, if you're trying to make an actual basketball game out of this, that's going to be hard because one stray ball, and that's going right through that camera.
Yeah.
And that's going to be thousands of dollars to replace.
Oh yeah.
So there goes most of the movie's budget just for that
Oh yeah,
replacement
just
camera.
for the camera. Which I'm sure they had like different ways of filming like certain shots and stuff.
True, but it seemed like every single time that they filmed the court shots, it was always the right side of the court, never in the middle.
Well, I can kind of understand why it's not the middle of the court, because if that's the case, then you'd have a guy in the middle of the court running with a big camera that could likely fall over and break.
No, I mean like the actors, they were on the right side of the court while the camera was in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's like that they can't physically do a game to make this look more realistic. It's because of the fact that there's a camera in the center of the court filming. And getting also right up in those shots, too. So they have to be extremely careful.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier not to play an actual game, but just take the same scenes, but flip it.
Yeah.
That way you can actually keep this realistic look of basketball, but at the same time, you're not going to be doing like this long cut of it.
Yeah.
Especially how short the movie is, they kind of had to.
So how does the transformation into a werewolf reflect Scotty's journey of his self-acceptance?
I think it was too short.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's like he didn't want it, and then he was like, people started liking the wolf and
wanting only the wolf.
He felt accepted after the wolf had finally come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because people were just like, hey, yo, he became a favorite instantly because of what he could do.
Yeah.
But he wasn't loved for himself. He was loved for the wolf.
Which is kind of realistic to real life.
It is.
Some people just will only accept you because of what you can offer them or what they can take from you.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
And not the actual person on the other side of it, and not what they can just bring.
Right.
Which is actually very relatable, honestly.
It is. I can definitely relate to that.
Mm.
So, in what ways does the movie deal with typical teen issues like popularity, relationships, and identity?
I would say it dealt with it pretty well 50%.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because there was like all of the characters were dealing with something.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not it all flowed together is a different story.
That's a different story entirely.
But it did talk about all of that kind of stuff very well. Because you had Scott, who was kind of like the outcast, the nerd, maybe not really a nerd, but he was kind of like not
more anxious than
not
anything.
Very popular. He's kind of like one of those angsty teens, or not
angsty teens,
but
not angsty
anxious
there you
teens.
Go. But say angsty is not.
That's not the right word
thing.
I'm looking for. That's not the right word I'm looking for. But anyway, he was very he had a lot of anxiousness and shyness and stuff with him, and then you had his friend Styles, who was like all outgoing. He wanted to go party. He wanted to drink. He wanted to be one of the cool kids.
Dude was all over the place.
He really was. Especially at the party.
I love the fact that the party scene is funniest for him.
I will say, I would think that party scene's my favorite.
The party scene is also very funny, in my opinion, with him. And it's the entire time for the party. Mm-hmm. Because rolling up, the dude was basically surfing on top of Scott's van.
Yeah.
And pretty much just barrel rolls onto his own car, tries to grab a keg of beer, and then just goes flying back into the ground because it's too heavy for him. He's also crab walking into this place with the beer keg just to find out, he's got a crap ton of beer kegs already. He's like, I just spent all day trying to get this keg and was not even worth it.
Yeah.
Granted, he's going to take it home with him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because that's a waste of good beer.
Oh, yeah.
Even though neither of us are really beer people.
Yeah, no. I can't drink, which I can't drink, period, anyway, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of it at all. The smell. Ugh.
Yeah.
So, does Scotty's werewolf transformation make him a stronger or more vulnerable character?
I don't know. I feel like it makes him more vulnerable.
I think it does too.
Because, I mean, he's basically showing a side of him that basically will, honestly, you know how people are going to react. Mm-hmm. He took a huge gamble when he first turned into the wolf. Mm-hmm. Because granted, that's from hindsight, because we've seen we've heard all the stories about the old, werewolves and everything, people being terrified, trying to kill them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, he only knows from those movies as well. Mm-hmm. But then again, he also doesn't know what happened with his mother.
Yeah.
So he took a huge gamble of what would happen if he showed that side to him in public, especially a basketball game at that.
Right. Which then again, the wolf kind of came out at the basketball game because he was so getting really riled up and angry. Mm. The wolf came out of anger.
Yeah.
Because of that rival guy getting on with that blonde girl.
Well, heck, he was more irritated with the dude because he kept pushing his buttons.
He did.
Even on the court.
Yeah.
Heck, even at the beginning of the entire movie, he basically shoulder checks him into the ground, just picks him up and says, "You suck."
Yeah.
Or, "You guys suck."
Yeah.
And it's like, dude just is out to pick a fight with Scott.
Yeah. From the get-go.
Yeah, it's like, what's the context here? Why is he so agitated with Scott specifically?
Yeah, for real.
Because it makes me think that he knew that Scott was a werewolf. And he just made it his personal vendetta because of his mother.
Yeah.
But just didn't know it was his mother, or maybe he knew it was his mother.
Maybe so. I don't know.
But it's like, he just had a weird vendetta against Scott throughout the entire movie. So it's like, what's the deal there?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's stuff that just doesn't add up throughout the movie.
For real.
That just doesn't go answered. And that's one of them. It's just this personal vendetta.
Yeah. Do you think the movie's humor holds up today, or does it feel dated?
I would say some of it is definitely dated.
Yeah, I can agree. Like when I was telling Mom that we were gonna do this one, she was like, "That's the corniest movie you guys could ever have picked."
Exactly.
I'm just like, well, somebody wanted to watch it, and so we did. He had the choice of what movies we did this time, so.
I did. Granted, we had to make an alterations. Thunderbolts was kind of a last-minute addition to it because we couldn't get the other movie was not on any streaming services unless we bought it.
No, it could be rented, but still.
You had to rent it regardless. It wasn't on any streaming services.
It's not
so
on
it's like
service.
one of those things that, okay, let's just do something that we've already watched that was already brand new.
Which that was kind of my idea,
Yeah.
since we had went and watched Thunderbolts that Sunday.
Yeah, so I think it was a good idea to do that.
Yeah, to add something new to it.
So it's just since we've basically covered nothing but old movies aside from Freaky Tales.
Yeah. Well, Freaky Tales was newer.
That's what I'm saying. Freaky Tales is basically the newest movie we had covered up to that point.
Up to Thunderbolts, yeah.
Yeah. So Thunderbolts would basically be next best thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say the jokes and stuff in that were very, very dated. Very 1980s.
Yeah.
Very 1980s. How do you think Teen Wolf has influenced the portrayal of supernatural elements in teen films?
I'm going to be honest, I don't think it did.
I don't think it did either. I really don't. Because really, if you think about it, those kind of supernatural stuff has been around for years. Because you have the original Frankenstein.
Dracula.
You have Dracula,
Wolfman. All that stuff.
You have all of, I don't think Teen Wolf influenced anything. Honestly.
Who knows? We may say that, and it turns out that the TV series Teen Wolf from 2011 actually was influenced by it. But who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe it influenced Twilight.
Oh, God.
That would be funny if that did.
That would be very funny.
Because that's ironic. They're both involved high school kids and werewolves, Draculas. Vampires and all that stuff. Or sparkle vampires.
Sparkly vampires.
So it's like, maybe, who knows? Maybe it actually did influence stuff and we just didn't realize it.
Maybe we should do Twilight. Maybe not all of them, just the first one.
I'm not putting myself through that again.
Just the first one.
I'm not putting myself through that again.
That's the only one I like anyway.
I already had to deal with New Moon and that Dawn one.
I've dealt with the whole series, honey.
That's true.
I've dealt with the whole series. I lived through that whole Team Jacob, Team Edward situation. I lived through that.
I still get annoyed by that entirely.
I do too.
Because it's like, I don't see the point in this.
Honestly, I wasn't on a team, but I liked werewolves better, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm Team Jacob. I liked werewolves better than vampires at the time, so I was just like, yeah, sure, I'm Team Jacob, whatever.
I mean, to be fair, werewolves are actually cooler than vampires. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
in my opinion,
it makes them more interesting. Because I mean, what do vampires really do? They only come out at night. They burn in the sun. They can't go
except
near
if
garlic.
they're sparkly. They're sparkly. They don't burn.
The fact that before sparkle vampires existed, which I think is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing fire right now. This is definitely hot takes.
Hot takes.
Twilight is overrated. There you go. There's a flame war started right there.
There you go.
Just to make a joke right now, just in the comments, tell us which team you were, Team Jacob or Team Edward.
Yeah. Yeah, actually do that, guys.
Oh,
Do
God.
that. Do that. Where, like, if you were back then,
I
and
I
you were
say
growing
the
up
joke.
in it, if you grew up in it like I did, tell me which team you were on, Team Edward or Team Jacob.
We are playing with fire right now with this, by the way.
We are, but it's fun. It's fun to play with fire, even though we might get burned.
Because the series might be dead, but at the same time, that fan base is definitely not.
We also should do Hunger Games. Now that I think
I
about
need to
it,
watch those.
they're really good.
I've watched like bits and pieces, but never actually sat down and watched a full movie.
They're all really good. I just haven't watched the newest one, which is Songbirds and Snakes. That because she just wrote that new book, and then they're coming out, and then she come out with another one, which is I don't remember what the title of that one is, but they just recently came out with 2 new ones. I don't know when this newest one's gonna come out. But the 2 books that she just wrote are prequels to the original story that she originally wrote.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah,
that's Rose. No one movie we should watch.
Which one?
And cover Maze Runner.
Yeah. I have actually never seen Maze Runner.
I've never either, but I've seen like the parodies of that.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't really call
Which
it.
I've never seen Ready Player One either.
I enjoyed Ready Player One just because of the references in it, because of the fact that it's all retro stuff.
We should do Pixels.
Hey!
Gotta give Adam Sandler some love.
I don't know. I don't care who says it. I love Adam Sandler's movies.
I
don't
do
care.
too.
They're so. I enjoy them just because of how corny and funny they are.
Yeah, that's why my mom doesn't like them.
Because how corny and funny?
Yeah. Because that's my dad's humor.
I will say.
Because Dad likes Dumb and Dumber too.
Then again, I will agree that the beginning of the entire movie, not the part where they're actually like when they're kids. I'm talking about specifically when they're adults and he goes to see that one woman to fix her TV.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that scene.
Oh yeah.
That scene, I will admit, that should never have been in the movie. That was definitely awkward.
Oh yeah. So going back to Teen Wolf.
We got sidetracked by different movies.
So did this movie set a template for future teen or high school comedies with a supernatural twist, such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Do I need to say that again?
I don't think so. More so the fact that, to the question, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't really think so. Honestly, I don't think this movie is as much of a classic as people make it out to be.
It's definitely not, but at the same time, I think it's because...
I'm not saying that it's a bad 80s movie, but it's not a good 80s movie.
There's a far worse 80s movies.
There's far worse 80s movies and far better 80s movies than that.
Halloween 3.
Karate Kid.
Wait, which one?
The original. The first one.
You calling the original bad?
No, good.
Oh. Well, we're talking about bad 80s movies, and you mentioned Karate Kid. It's like, wait, what?
No, because we said bad or worse or better.
Oh, gotcha.
You said one that was worse, and then I said one that was better.
Okay, well, I misinterpreted. Because honestly, that's why I asked you, like, which one, and I thought you meant the reboot one, and I was like, yeah, I can agree with that one.
Well, the reboot one was in 2010.
Exactly. I don't think
that wouldn't have counted as an 80s.
Yeah.
You gamer.
Although
the one with the girl in it, because there is a Karate Kid movie that they did, which had Mr. Miyagi in it, but the person was a girl. I don't
remember that one.
That was no. That was like it was like a reboot, a 90s reboot, I think. And they did a girl that time.
Like, I'll sit down and watch it. Though, just to see if it's
Which I've never watched that one either. I didn't know that
existed.
I didn't either until I was like looking up all the Karate Kid stuff, because I was watching 1 through 3 at the time, because I like Cobra Kai.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I didn't know about that until I was doing research for Cobra Kai and seeing what all was there.
Interesting. Oh, that explains it. It's called The Next Karate Kid.
The Next Karate Kid.
1994.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I think I've seen parts of this, but I haven't actually watched it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, it's only a budget of $12 million.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit down. I'll probably sit down and watch it because I actually enjoy the Karate Kid movies. I actually
enjoyed
watch
them
all
too.
three.
Yeah.
I enjoy them.
Although I will say, I think I like the first. I mean, personally, I like the first one the best. The next two kind of were like a hit or miss. Although, actually, no, I take that back. I think the second one's my favorite.
Can we mention how the second one ended? The fact that we just left the guy knocked the heck out and then just immediately the end.
I'm trying to remember, but I don't.
Because the only reason why I remember it is because of the fact that I saw the ending of it just a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah.
And they knocked the guy out, and then all of a sudden they're like all cheering and everything, and then all of a sudden the end. And it's like, huh?
Wait a minute.
You're really gonna end it just like that? The dude's just knocked down on the ground.
Like, what do you mean?
He doesn't go to jail or anything. He's just unconscious on the ground after taking a
Although
taking a
it was
hit.
an official fight, though. So, I mean, like, what would he have been arrested for?
Well, more so the fact that he held a knife up to a woman's throat.
Oh, well.
I would say that.
Well, I mean, he didn't commit murder.
He didn't commit murder, but he tried to.
I mean,
'Cause that was-
attempted murder.
It's attempted. But it's the fact that they just left him unconscious on the ground there. And then the end.
Which, then again, she may have not have pressed charges.
Probably not. But then again, heck, well, never mind. It's just so funny to me. It's like, we win! Yay! He's unconscious on the ground. Movie over. It's like, wow. Okay. So it's like, it doesn't even set up for the third movie whatsoever. It just, dude's knocked out on the ground. The end.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think about it. I still don't know.
It's just so funny to me, honestly, the fact that that's how it happened. Then again, I don't know if there was any like end credit scenes whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not that I remember.
Yeah, I don't know if there was or not. So I'm just taking a shot in the dark that there wasn't. But it's like it didn't have any like lead up to be a third movie in the series.
Yeah.
It was just here's a third.
Which, no, I think when they get back home, it kind of sets it up like he buys the bonsai tree shop.
Maybe.
Or something. Because I don't remember it ending just when he gets knocked out.
Well, like I said, there may have been end credits, but I'm not 100% sure.
Honey, I don't think they knew what end credit scenes were back then.
Well, all I know is that all I saw was that happening and then the end, and that's it. And then I left out of the house to go change my water pump.
Oh, is that what was broken on your truck?
Yeah,
Oof.
water pump bad. Took 45 minutes to fix.
Oof.
Yeah, me and Dad fixed it.
Oof.
So yeah, but I just gotta keep an eye on it now. Make sure it doesn't leak anymore.
Oh, that'd
It's
be
a
good.
Duralast brand, so we gotta make sure. Granted, I got a lifetime warranty, but if it keeps breaking it keeps leaking, then what's the point of having a lifetime warranty?
For real. They just keep replacing it.
Yeah, it's free every time.
Yeah.
So it's like, then what's the point of me buying it if I'm going to have to spend up to basically an hour, over an hour trying to fix it over and over?
Yeah.
At least the Ford is a bit easy to access a freaking water pump.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dad was telling me how he has to take, for a lot of vehicles, he has to take the entire front end off just to even get
Ooh.
access to the water pump.
Mm.
While mine,
You just have to get under the truck.
no, you can
No?
go right through the hood.
Hmm.
Pretty much you just take out the covering, take out the fan, the belt, and all that stuff. There it is.
Hmm.
It literally, in total, the entire time to get to that part and then take it out, 45 minutes.
Hmm.
It literally took that long. And then putting it back in took close to that much time, but a little bit shorter.
Okay.
Because I think we had started that day, when we had taken the truck apart, it was, I want to say 2:15, and we got done at like 3 something.
Well, that's pretty good.
Or past 3:10. It was past 3:10. But when we did put the new part back in, we got done at 3:07.
Oh, that's pretty good time.
Yeah. So it didn't take as long, but at the same time, it still took just as long.
Did it not pour down rain at your house?
Yes.
Okay.
We were on there
Oh, you
under
were
the
in-
awning at the shop.
Oh, okay.
So
What'd I
we were
say?
able to access everything without getting drenched.
That's good.
But yeah.
All right. So, to wrap things up, I do
Tangent.
have one thing to thank you guys for. On May 4th, we ended up ranking 155 on Apple Podcasts in the film reviews category.
Which is very shocking to me.
It was I was very shocked to see the
Very
email.
shocking.
I was very shocked to see the email. I was just like, wait, really? When did this happen?
Yeah. It's so funny.
How did this happen? So, from the bottom of our hearts, we just want to thank you guys for listening and giving us a chance. And we will continue to give you guys these lovely, unscripted reviews that you oh so adore.
If we can stay on topic.
If we could stay on topic, yeah.
We went off topic many times.
Yeah, many, many times. But then again, that's the glory of being unscripted.
That's very true.
That's all for today's episode of Popcorn Unscripted.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PopUnscripted, then Popcorn Cinema on Facebook.
And let us know your thoughts or any suggestions for future episodes. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out any future episodes. We upload every Wednesday and Saturday.
If you'd like to send us a message or subscribe for bonus content, check out the links in the description.
Your support means a lot and helps keep the conversation going.
If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to leave us a review. It helps us out a ton, and we love hearing your thoughts.
Until next time, keep your popcorn close.
And your movie critiques closer.
Thanks for listening to Popcorn Unscripted.